2022, the regular monthly meeting of the Winslow Town Council. All stand please for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lisa, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Peter Drapo.
Here.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quirian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Here.
Joseph Gravel.
Yep.
Jeff West.
Here.
Lee Trahan.
Here.
Our next item is approval of minutes from previous meeting. At this time, we do not have the minutes from the September meeting. Those will be available at the November meeting. So we will move forward to communications. And our item that is on the agenda is boards and committee appointments for the Assessment Review Board. We have Sally Harwood, Michael Heavener, and Deborah Russell.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Was there a second?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rocky.
Being no discussion? Lisa, roll call?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quirian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Appointments passed 7-0. Our next item is reports of committees and commissions.
Erica?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, everybody, to our first meeting in the library. As you saw, we're working out some of the technology bugs, but overall, I think it's gone pretty well. I'd like to say thank you to the counselors who worked so hard on this, as well as Katie, my executive assistant. She did a lot of work trying to make sure we got the furniture in here and got what we needed to be able to get going tonight. So everybody did a really good job on this. Updates from last month. I have to say that my report's a little bit shortened this month just due to time constraints, but I'll hit the highlights. We, as a facility committee, we all went out and toured the Hampton Municipal Facility last month. That was to look at their combined public safety and town offices facility. We learned about as much about what we shouldn't do as about what we should do. There were a lot of things that looked really good on paper, and in talking to them, a lot of things that they said, we wish we'd known that before we did it. The biggest problem for them right now is they're busting at their seams, and they didn't do enough forward planning to think longer than about 15 years down the road. So now it's already outgrown, they've outgrown their space there. So there was a lot of great information though, and I'd like to thank Chief Bailey and Deputy Fire Chief Lundstrom for taking as much time as they did with us. We were there for a couple hours, and it really helped to kind of solidify what we were thinking in our minds. The RFP for the engineering and architectural services that would encompass the site review, the facility requirements, and the conceptual design went out on September 14th. We did have a site visit with prospective bidders on September 27th. That took about 2.5 hours with 3 firms going through all of our facilities and look at what we needed, as well as going out to Public Works and looking at the proposed site itself. I did extend the deadline. Those were all due back today. However, there were some questions that we were not able to get posted quickly enough, so I gave them a 1-week extension, so we'll be looking to get those bids back now on October 18th. And then we will reconvene the Facilities Committee after we have all those to review the proposals. In September, we welcomed our newest front office employee, Mary Fortier. She's a 4-year employee of the Waterville Finance Department. And she hit the ground running when we got here because she already knows Munis. It's great. She basically knows everything but our sewer billing, and that she is learning. And she's got a wonderful positive attitude, and she's doing a great job so far. So, and she will be taking over the sewer billing. So that's going to be good to have that back under somebody's primary purview again. We also have selected our new children's librarian. Actually, as of today, she is already working here. Her name is Celeste Gleason, but at the time of the report, which is September 30th, she had not started yet. So we want to welcome both Mary and Celeste, 2 great additions to our staff here at the town. Project updates. We had another meeting of the Comprehensive Planning Committee. We met on September 28th to review and finalize the future land use chapter. We made a lot of progress on that, and we'll be reconvening again on October 26th. So we're making steady progress now towards the completion of that plan. The junior high environmental study is still not in. However, we have been working on winterizing and decommissioning the building already. I've been working with Shelley Phillips to try and get all that stuff coordinated, take over the bills that the town has to take over, which are minimal at this point, and just moving forward with that. So those are the highlights for this month. The coming month will already be starting our preliminary budget work, if you can believe that. It's already time to start working towards that. And we're going to be looking to have the financial audit completed. They're going to try to have everything completed by late October, and hopefully we'll have the report by sometime in November. They're trying to coordinate. For anybody who doesn't know, we had to get a new auditor this year. The Hank Farrell from the previous firm we used is doing our pre-audit work, so he's very familiar with both the town and the school's financials, but the new auditor is not. So we're waiting a little bit on the school stuff because they're doing the work for both Waterville and Winslow schools combined, and we should have everything, though, by our deadline in December. We're also going to be working on developing RFPs for solid waste collection disposal, paving for the 2023 season, and blanket engineering service. So our life continues to be busy. We're moving on.
Any questions for Erica?
Through the chair, do you know when DOT is going to advertise the Taconic Bridge?
My understanding is they already have put that out to bid. So that, I'm sorry?
I have some answers if you want. The bids are opening tomorrow.
Yeah. So, yeah, their plan had been to put it out in September and get the bids back in October, so it sounds like that's exactly where we're at.
That's all I wanted.
How about an update on, I think I read something somewhere on the Parade of Lights. We'll go through Winslow and Waterville this year.
So, yes, we are going to be participating in the Parade of Lights. That is separate from Kringleville. The parade will start at the high school and will filter its way down Benton Avenue, then across the Taconic Bridge into Waterville, and end at Kringleville down there. So this is a little different. Last year we were able to have the horse and carriage come across the river and light our gazebo. We still plan this year on having them stop at the gazebo outside the town office and lighting our Christmas lights there to kind of kick the season off. More to come on what other activities for that day will be planned, but that's going to be the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
That's during the day, right?
The parade is actually at night.
Night.
So what we did last year, and I believe Amanda is working on doing more of this year, is to have activities beforehand that start in the daylight hours but continue up till when the parade comes down, and the parade's kind of the finale and we're done at that point.
I just want to add something. Most people know that we've had a group of volunteers working on the Fort Halifax Hill Cemetery for the last 2 years. As of last Friday, that is complete. That cemetery has been gone through, every stone touched, every stone fixed. The public can walk through there if they want to. It's open, it's available. I would suggest they do. There's a lot of history in that place. But it is officially, I guess, open to the public. Any other department reports? Yes, Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Recently, we've experienced an influx of new employees, and every month we try and introduce some new ones, and there were some that were going to be introduced tonight. However, they're out on a call, but we do have one with us right now. His name is Michael Greenberg, and I would like Michael to stand up. This is, he's been with us 3 or 4 months now and is doing an outstanding job, but I wanted to be able to put a name with the face, so. In addition, we receive periodically letters from the public with regards to the service we provide. And I've been asked to read a letter from one of the people that we've served, and at this time, if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and read that. Hello, when I was on the committee to form our own ambulance service in Winslow, part of my decision to fight for this service was to get help as quick as possible to residents, staffed with a crew you can trust to deliver good medical care, all while having a high focus on professionalism. This past Monday, October 3rd, my husband complained of having chest pain. He had no real cardiac history except for an ablation procedure to correct AFib. After a few minutes and the chest pain increasing, I called 911. With that call came my time to witness firsthand all that I had hoped for from this wonderful professional and skilled team. I wanted to take the time to thank the crew as well as Deputy Chief Scott Baldock. Deputy Chief Baldock taking that extra time to meet me in the waiting room to explain to me what was going on put my mind at ease and made a world of difference in a very trying time. Working in the field of EMS for years and experiencing and working many emergencies is very different when it comes to your loved one. Having that trust and familiar face or faces there truly makes a difference. We ended up spending about 8 hours in the ED, and my husband was able to leave with medication to rid fluid that had formed in his lungs due to a delay in his heartbeats. All can be fixed with the correct medication. Having a very slow heart rate is life-threatening, and thanks to your team and their medical care, I will always have complete trust in their medicine. Chief Rodriguez, you head up a great team and a service you can be proud of. So glad you fought to make this service possible. Again, please thank the crew of that day along with Deputy Chief Baldock. The crew that day was B shift. It was Chief Baldock, Lieutenant Burgess, firefighter Jonathan Behringer, and Trulin Preble, firefighter Preble. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to share some positive feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Chief, and I think most people in this town realize the quality of service you guys provide this town.
Thank you, sir.
We need a motion.
Any other department reports? Okay.
Make a motion to accept all reports as delivered.
Discussion? Roll call?
Peter Drappo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Querido. Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Reports passed 7-0. Our next item is public comment.
This portion of our meeting, we allow any resident to speak for 3 minutes on any topic that is not on tonight's agenda. Is there any member from the public who would like to speak for 3 minutes on any item that is not on the agenda? Yes, sir. And please state your name
Vern Cowell.
and
Podium, please.
Peter, you get that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vern Cowell. I am here tonight on behalf of Iowa City, Maine. I would like to start with what we believe are misconceptions of the fireworks ban referendum being proposed, and I quote directly from the resolution number 25, 2022. Whereas the Winslow Town Council would like the residents of Winslow community to decide whether or not to ban all fireworks within the town. As the referendum is currently written, it would include everything in any Maine fireworks store, since all items in their federally regulated 1.4G consumer fireworks. It was reported in a local newspaper that sparklers would be permitted, and the official town website has a question and answer section with the following question, and I quote, "Can I still use sparklers and fountains?" The answer, and I say quote, is yes, these do not meet the definitions put forth by state law. In general, if it does not leave the ground or noise, it will be allowed. End quote. In accordance with Maine State Law, Section 3, 8, MRSA 22(1)(a), sub 4, this statement is inaccurate. I have provided you all a copy of this section so you may follow along as you desire. Section 3.8 MSRA 221-A sub 4 as amended. Fireworks. Fireworks means any combustible or explosive composition or substance. B, combination of explosive compositions or substances. C, other article that was prepared for the purpose of producing a visible or audible effect by combustion, explosion, deflagration, or detonation, including blank cartridges or toy cannons in which explosives are used. The type of balloon that requires fire underneath them to propel it, firecrackers, torpedoes, skyrockets, Roman candles, bombs, rockets, wheels, colored fire changes, fountains, mines, serpents, and other fireworks of like construction. D, fireworks containing any explosive or flammable compound, or E, tablets of any device containing explosive substance or flammable compound. As you see, sparklers fit many of the categories of fireworks, and fountains are called out by name as a type of firework. In light of these facts, we respectfully request that the town of Winslow remove the incorrect answer in the question and answer section of the town's official website, as it is inaccurate and may be misleading to voters, and that a correction is posted publicly. We also respectfully request a correction in the Morning Sentinel to be initiated by the town of Winslow to clarify the matter reported in their article as well. I will now answer any questions you may have with what time I have remaining. Thank you for your time.
There's been no question, but Erica, if you want to respond to the incorrect information.
In consultation with the town attorney today, we did alter the FAQ to say that fountains would not be allowed based on the verbiage in, which, by the way, all of that is specifically written into the verbiage of the ordinance, which is now posted online. The FAQ has been corrected, but on the advice of the town attorney, based on the statement which was not read there, which is that it is sparklers not containing, I'm sure you have the language right there. Chlorates and perchlorates.
Which I wouldn't be selling because they wouldn't be in my
Right,
store.
so it says some sparklers will be allowed, see the definition, and it references that section. But we have posted that correction on the website. There is now verbiage up there. It's a new story that's on, it should appear on the front page today when you sign into the website. It has an updated FAQ. We've also posted that to Facebook. Morning Sentinel, we didn't provide that quote for them, and they printed their article before we printed their FAQ. So that one, that one would be for you to contact them and tell them to please correct that. But you can refer them to the corrected data that's on our website as well.
Thank you. Anybody else? Again, we thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Any other person who wants to speak on the public comment portion? There being none, we will close the, oh, excuse me, we have one that was received by text message.
Yes, we do have one emailed comment tonight. It comes in from Michael Poulin. It says, there is a derelict building on Benton Avenue adjacent to the high school football field, formerly owned by Henry Tompkins and then to his son Peter Tompkins. No idea as to its current provenance. It's the Plywood Palace. Grounds have overgrown vegetation with some blocking the sidewalk on the adjoining street. Is this a dangerous building? Is the council concerned? Respectfully submitted, Mike.
That's it for written comment?
That's it.
We will call it into the public portion, public comment portion of this meeting. Lisa, on to business.
Next item is old business, order number 23-2022, providing for authorization for the town manager to enter into a mutual aid agreement with the town of Oakland, providing mutual aid response for fire EMS departments in other municipalities.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And this again is the second reading. Being no discussion, Lisa, roll call?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quillian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item up is order number 24-2022, providing for authorization for the town manager to accept the Maine Infrastructure Adaptation Fund grant agreement entered into by and between the state of Maine, acting by and through its Department of Transportation, Maine DOT, and the town of Winslow.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Again, this is the second reading. Being no discussion, Lisa, roll call?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quillian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Order number 24-2022 passes 7-0. Our next item. Get that organized. Next item is ordinance, it's new business, ordinance number 14-2022, providing for an amendment to the Winslow zoning map to rezone the following lot on tax map 15, lot 12, located at 120 Augusta Road from high density residential to mixed use.
So moved.
Second.
Hold on, now we can take, I can make a motion to table.
Okay.
We're gonna take it off, we're gonna, motion first. Any discussion?
Second.
Okay, give Peter the second, I mean, one or the other.
Okay, so the motion is to table?
No, no, we need a motion to
I
table.
thought Jeff made the motion.
No.
No, I haven't yet.
No.
Okay.
I make a motion to table this. Second.
Lisa, we'll have a roll call.
Okay. Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quillian.
Is that for tabling?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you. Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Motion to pass, motion to table, ordinance number 14-2022 passes 7-0. Moving on, ordinance number 15-2022, the amendment of ordinance number 4-2002, the administration of general assistance.
So moved. Second.
This ordinance change requires a public hearing. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak on this particular item? There being none, the public hearing portion will be closed. Is there any discussion with the council? Being no discussion, Lisa, roll call?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quillian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Ordinance number 15-2022 passes 7-0. Next item, ordinance number 16-2022, providing for an amendment to ordinance number 4-2021, agriculture commission procedures number 1 with a change in language.
So moved.
Second.
This change also requires a public hearing. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak on this particular item? There being none, the public hearing portion will be closed. Any discussion among the council? There being none, Lisa, roll call?
Yes. Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quillian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item, ordinance number 17, providing for an amendment to the library trustees ordinance with a change in language to section 18-23, purpose in section 18-30, letter H.
So moved.
Second. This ordinance change also requires a public hearing. I see we have some library trustees here. Is there anyone who would want to speak on this particular issue? I'll explain the rules for public hearing participation. You have 5 minutes to use as your own time with this item only. If you have questions for any of the councilors, you can ask questions. Be prepared, though. The councilor's answer will be part of your 5 minutes. And please state your name and address, please.
So my name is Rebecca Hudson. I'm a library trustee from 10 Warren Terrace in Winslow. We're here tonight because of the way that this process has evolved and what's driving the change in the ordinance. Perhaps it was our pushback with the facility being changed without our, we feel that we were not included in the discussion, and so we felt disrespected. We're willing to share our space, but it was the whole the communication piece. We're grateful that we have our wall protecting our circulation and our equipment. However, that came out of our budget, which was driven by this project. And we're wondering why the change is necessary, and what our authority is going forward.
Erica?
So yes, it did come out of this room, specifically of the nomenclature you just said. The Board of Trustees is, in fact, an advisory board. When the ordinance was created, it said that it was a governing board. A governing board sets its own budgets. It would make this not a department of the town. The department director would not report to the town manager and the council. However, she does. The council sets the budget. And the trustees do not control the facility. And the fact that I'm hearing a lot of R is the misconception. It is not, none of the budget that comes here is belonging to the trustees other than the trustee accounts. That is your charge when you're elected. Those are the accounts that you're supposed to be overseeing, and the town has nothing to do with those. We have no purview over those. That is completely the trustees, and you're elected to handle those. This ordinance change is only clarifying what the roles are. You always have an advisory role when it comes to what the programming will be, what things we should be looking to add, or who we should hire. You're always going to be the ones that conduct the interviews for the library director and make that recommendation to myself, who then brings it to council. But you don't have the actual overview of any of that. And that's the difference between advisory and governing.
Right, and so I think there was a misunderstanding about, and so it's good that it's being clarified. Appreciate that, and going forward, we understand, you know, where our authority or lack thereof is for the premise. It is our function, though, to represent the citizens of the town, to provide space for programming, to provide space for them. And that was one of the factors, is that we're willing to share our space. However, we were already limited with the space that we had to provide the services that the patrons, the citizens want. And so it was just frustrating the way that everything worked out, and I feel like it could have been done in a more professional or inclusive way versus us just being told this is the way it's going to be.
So Karen and Wanda visited me right away.
And I saw the letter that they shared with you.
And we had a discussion about that. My feeling as the director's supervisor was that it was her job to act as liaison, not ours. However, understanding the feelings that came out of that, I agreed with Wanda and Karen that going forward, that we would work with the trustees anytime there was anything to do with the facilities. So the hard feelings understood. It does need to be clarified that, because remember, this group right here also is responsible to the citizens and what they need out of this facility as well. So you kind of have, you both have the same interest when it comes to that.
Right.
And this, we ensured that this room would be able to be used for programming, and our meetings happen after hours at this point. And according to your library director, there's no meetings going on after that time anyway, because we would have to have overtime spent to actually allow that to happen at this point. So there's not going to be any overlap, at least at this point, of your programming and our council meetings. Should there come a point with that, we can work around it, and Lisa assured me that one night a month is not going to conflict with what we need to do for programming. Had that been an issue immediately, I mean, because Lisa was spoken to immediately about this. So I think, I I understand and I don't want to minimize how you all felt, which is why I agreed with Karen and Wanda that we need to do a little bit better in the future involving everybody. But it was also one of those things where time was of the essence to get it moving. I've got one employee basically sitting almost in the hallway. We need the space over there. We are at capacity. And this was the next best place to hold it. It's also a nicer place for people to come than the town office is, just because of the condition of the building. So I definitely appreciate the sentiment, and we will, through me, do better in the future with bringing you all on board sooner.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I think we're all here for the same purpose, and to have, you know, interfighting or contention, you know, it's about communication, about respect. And so hopefully that'll be the case going forward. You do see that we're very limited on space, and that we did have programming in the evenings prior to COVID. Our hours have been changed because of that, you know, and so it does limit us, you know, with being able to accommodate in the future, and we'll have to work together to see how we can make that happen. But we just need to make ourselves heard to the citizens and to the council. So thank you.
Any discussion among the council? There being no discussion, Lisa, roll call?
Yes. Peter Drappo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
No.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Lisa, before you continue,
Yes.
Mr. Tivitot, I apologize. If you had something to say during the period of reports. That's my mistake. If you have something you want to say, you can take all the time you want.
No apologies necessary.
Oh, come on, hold him
Few things I can
accountable.
Share with you about the schools.
I apologize, Peter.
Just quickly, the school year is up and running. And I will tell you that there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm around the school year this year. Ray's sitting there, he probably knows a little bit of what I'm talking about in terms of whether it's kids being involved and participating in things, or just a return to quote unquote, and I'll tap on wood, a semblance of what we would consider some semblance of normalcy. That's not to say that there aren't any speed bumps. Like all of you who run a business, we scramble all the time for substitutes, if it's a bus driver or if it's a substitute, to cover our classrooms. Everybody is in dire need of those same individuals, and when people are out, we're all working hard to fill those roles. This week, and in the coming weeks, Winslow, as with all schools, private public schools in the state of Maine, we participated in the mandatory state testing called the MEAs, of the Maine Educational Assessment. It measures progress in math and reading. The assessment is also called the NWEA. MAP growth is administered to students in grades 3 through 8 and to students in the second year of high school. These standardized assessments are only one academic assessment of how our kids are doing. There are other forms, obviously, that help our educators evaluate the progress of our kids. I would encourage you, invite you, go to our website, visit the curriculum and instructional website. I encourage you to do that. I think you'll be very impressed what you see there in terms of what's happening in your schools. Other news quickly, construction project is going well. As you know, we are a very efficient two-building campus at this point, two-building campus, and we are in need of space at the elementary school. So all of the classrooms in that particular building are being utilized. So we are very fortunate to be building 4 classrooms onto that building. Through the use of our ESSA funds, I believe we're one of 20 school districts in the state that's been able to do this, to qualify. So that's exciting. They're putting up steel tomorrow, so that's good news as well. We recently completed a day-and-a-half of professional development training for our teachers. We covered a variety of topics, as you can well imagine, including training on our new math program at the elementary grades. Our high school teachers are working with Maine Math and Science Alliance, which offers targeted training for learning opportunities for schools. In October, our administrative team will attend a webinar presented by the Department of Homeland Security in order for us to continue looking at ways in which to improve school safety. I could go on, but I'll close by saying things are going exceptionally well overall in your schools. I'm very proud of them.
Thank you.
Peter, the math program that you instituted this year, I've already heard good reviews about it. I'm assuming that's true?
It's very true. It's a program that encourages students to have conversations about their problem-solving abilities when they're working on problems, rather than just sit and get. They're encouraged to have conversations about how they got to the answer and their critical thinking. It's going exceptionally well.
Lisa, back to the order of business?
Back to the agenda, we have ordinance number 18-2022 is next. It is providing for the town of Winslow to approve an ordinance for property maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
This item also includes the necessity for a public hearing. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak on the proposed property maintenance ordinance? There being none, we will close the public hearing portion of this item. Discussion among the council.
Through the chair.
Yes.
So, in my neck of the woods, I've had a lot of feedback about the grass issue. So I just wanted to, I understand in town that it may be more of an issue as far as aesthetics go, but out in the country, a lot of people, I mean, it says in here that they would, if it's a wooded, going back to wooded land, that's fine, but if it's a tall grassed area or not being used for agriculture, that would be considered as a offense in this ordinance. Myself, along my driveway, I don't mow that. I raise bees. The milkweed is one of their favorite foods. So I just hate to see it out in the country. And I've had a lot of constituents out that way come to me, and they're concerned about that. So I don't know if I'd like to make an amendment to this ordinance, maybe in the rural district or out of the compact zone, not to have that part of the ordinance in there.
That, you could make the amendment, move to amend it now, Rocky. Realize, this is only the first reading.
Correct.
We are gonna have a second reading.
Correct.
We will not waive the second reading on this, I don't believe. All of these issues that I think, if we discuss these tonight, proposed motions to amend, others may have a few. If you want to make the motion tonight, you can, or we can wait and put all of these ideas and stuff together and do it on the second reading.
That's fine. I just want to
And the
make
opportunity will be there, certainly at the second reading. And will give us time and more input from the public on all of this.
and that's fine. I just want to make sure that my constituents are
And
heard.
we can come up in the meantime to define the areas that you're concerned about,
Mhm.
more than just the urban compact zone or voting district or something.
Yeah.
We can come up with something
That's fine.
more specific to put in.
I just want to make sure that the constituents out in my neck of the woods are heard.
Mhm.
And that was one of their biggest concerns. I mean, as far as the trash and stuff, they're all for cleaning up, definitely, areas.
Through the chair?
Yes,
If
Ray.
I may, if you do want to make a change, let people know as soon as you can, because it would be nice to be able to discuss the proposed changes that you're looking at. If you're gonna, say, take away the 10-inch grass thing, then tell us right now. I think at the next meeting, I'm gonna make an amendment so that we
That's what
can
I'm
fully
saying,
discuss
but
it.
You're
So,
saying to wait, but
yeah,
Yes, that will be discussed.
you can wait, but
I
I
would,
would let I would let people know that you're doing that so we can, or tonight, just let us know, we can have, at least we can vet it, you
I
know?
would, I would
Okay, okay, so,
make that
Okay.
amendment.
okay, all right.
Through the chair,
Yes, Jerry?
my constituents, a lot of them, that is opposed to, and that's in the compact area, to the grass portion of this. The thing is that they're saying is, we can't get our roads fixed or streets, and we're gonna enforce a grass ordinance, 10 inches. And a lot of them are listening right now over electronics. I'd go along with Rocky in putting an amendment to this.
Your amendment would be what, your proposed amendment would be what, Jerry?
That we just don't try to enforce the basic, I'm trying to think there, grass heights. Because I went by some places today in the district. At that point, we're gonna land up trying to have, weeds that we need for butterflies, birds, insects, and so forth.
Peter first?
Through the chair. I've made this comment more than once, and apparently people are concerned with the grass height. I don't see the town, and anybody here, sitting here, or in the audience, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see the town running around with a tape measure looking at grass heights. Grass heights are going to be enforced and complained through your neighbors. If you live in a neighborhood where everybody manicures their yard and their lawn, and you're in the middle of it, and your grass is 2 feet tall, you haven't mowed it, you haven't trimmed, your neighbors will get after you. Then your neighbors will probably call the town, and somebody will go have a talk with you. Nobody's going out and measuring grass height and hand out summons. Now, as far as Rocky's concerned, I can hear that, Rocky. I live in the outskirts, and, you know, part of my field is not used for agriculture, but it's a field. It gets mowed twice a year. So, you know, for the police to come over and measure the guy, come on, people, that's not gonna happen. So, we can continue to beat this to death, but I do believe Rocky has a valid point. As far as in town, Jerry, if you've got neighbors with grass that's 2 feet tall, maybe you ought to have a talk with them. Or somebody should.
I don't usually have many neighbors with grass that.
Exactly, well then, so
Most
that's
of
what
them
I have to
are
say about it.
concerned about the 10-inch portion. They're not concerned about, getting it mowed. But if you get some people that are out there, that will end up, they're getting old, well, they're being senior citizens. And they don't mind mowing their lawns, but it makes it hard for them to do it. And they're all coming and saying, I mean, I go to a restaurant, they jump on me. And I don't blame them. And I know that Peter is saying, well, we're not gonna go out there and measure. There's no guarantees that cannot happen. Can you guarantee that, Peter?
Of course not.
Okay.
We can guarantee, though, that enforcement's not gonna go out there because he doesn't have time to patrol for that. He doesn't have time to patrol for other code violations. We have one code enforcement officer. He's not gonna be out there going door to door looking for grass. However, when a complaint comes in, then he would be dispatched as a response, which he is required to do. I think so again, I went out today, and unfortunately, we don't have a screen. I went out, and it's directly across from the town office. We have 10-inch grass out there. It has taken a month for that grass to grow to 10 inches. If you can't mow your lawn more than once a month, then maybe you need to call the town office and see if we can find you some help for it. But a month is a little excessive to not mow your grass. The big part that's being missed here is that it is not strictly a sightliness issue. Tall grass harbors vermin. It harbors insects, it harbors ticks, mosquitoes, snakes, rats, which we are experiencing a huge population surge right now in this town, and I am getting multiple complaints. And when I say multiple, it's probably more than you're getting on grass. The concept that we are going to go out and look for grass height is not even feasible unless we add on an entire staff of summertime help. And I don't think you all are gonna vote that for me in the budget unless I'm mistaken. So we have no intention of doing that. But when we have residents calling that are concerned about what's coming across the neighbor's lawn to their own yards in the forms of vermin, or who are concerned about their property values because there's a house next door to them that doesn't keep their property up, we also have an obligation to them. Right now, we have nothing in our ordinance that helps that. The Bay Street corridor, I've harped on a bunch. And I'll go on record with the unpopular statement that I don't think 10 inches is short enough. I'm gonna share this picture with you all, but 10-inch grass, me standing in it, and this is across the street from the town office. 10-inch grass is up to here. That is not short grass. That takes a while to get to that height. So I concede the point with council, you guys are gonna do whatever you wanna do with the height, but I think it's ill-advised to do nothing. And again, I understand the point out in the rural areas. We do have to be concerned that people know which district they're actually in to be able to separate it out by a different zone. And a lot of times people don't. But you do have a commercial corridor that we are desperately trying to clean up to attract more businesses into town and to attract people to come here. And if we cut out this one piece altogether, which is probably the biggest problem on Bay Street, I think you're being short-sighted, because I think we really need this to be able to clean up a large portion of the areas that we want to attract new businesses to take, again, the tax burden off of our residential taxpayers. Because the prices are only going up.
If I may through the chair.
Just a second, Ray, to give Lee and Jeff a chance.
Oh,
to have
I'm very
spoken.
sorry.
Yeah,
No, that's
I'll
fine.
come back to you, Ray.
Yeah, no.
I do have one question for Amos through the chair. In the abandoned building ordinance,
Yep,
is there a grass height stated in that?
I believe there is. I don't
Okay.
remember it off the top of my head, but it's definitely under a foot.
Okay.
Lee?
I'm good at this time.
Okay, Ray?
It's just a quick statement is, when I first moved into town back in the 60s from Waterville, I came and there were people in the town of Winslow that they owned their home. If they had a double tenement, they lived in one half, and people really took care of their property. I mean, it was pristine out there. On Clinton Avenue was just a very nice spot. All the other surrounding streets. As time moves on, we get out-of-state people buying tenement houses. We get a lot of things. We need this property maintenance, and we need, I believe, some type of grass ordinance so that we can put some bite on to where we deal with, Amos deals with these people, so that we can get these people that we don't know. They live in Massachusetts or Rhode Island and they own these great houses, and I think we need that so that we can protect the other properties that surround it that are still owned by people that actually live in the town of Winslow and not someplace else. So I believe, and this is just a first step. In the future, if we find that we're having issues, we can make amendments to this ordinance in the future too. So I think this is a first step. I would leave the grass in there right now, see if there is any problems, and then in the future, we can amend it later. But I think, we need to vote on the amendment. If you feel that, then we need to make an amendment and then vote on it. And I definitely respect your opinion and understand where everybody's coming from.
My perceptions on this, I have driven around this town, in a town. Rocky, I'll confess, I haven't driven out through too much of the rural areas. I've been focusing on in town. And what I see mostly, where the grass is out of control, is exactly like Ray said. It's not single-family residences as much as it is the apartment houses. That a lot of them, yeah, probably own local, a lot of them aren't. And for some reason, they're not being taken care of. The lawns or the curbings. You go down Clinton Avenue, and there's 3 or 4 right in a row. You go down Monument Street, there's 2 or 3 right there. And these are apartment houses. There are very few, there are some, but nowhere in comparison to the apartment units of single-family residents with what I would consider lawn problems. In my neighborhood, out of 500 houses, there might be 3 or 4. Of course, there's no apartment houses either. You take Ray's district, probably doesn't have much of a problem with residential lawn. In town, it's the commercial properties, whether it's a business or whether it's an apartment house. The further you go out of town, I agree with you, Rocky, that the same standards may not be applicable in your district as it is in mine. Because it's more acceptable. It's more, that's the type of limit. And I think we should leave a grass limit in there. What it's gonna be, we can discuss it or agree to it. But I can see your point, Rocky.
And I don't have any
And I think
problem
we can
with,
come up with something, maybe to that effect.
and I don't have any problem with the in-town, and I totally
And certainly,
understand it.
and certainly in the high-density residential districts, we need it. We need it.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
And we've got to do something to get the apartment owners responsible for maintaining their properties.
Like I said, I'm not arguing on the in-town at all. I totally understand.
So I think, with the grass anyway, I think, Rocky, I think you and I can work on something before the next meeting and let everybody know on what boundaries we might look at and whether we can do it legally. I think that can be done.
Work with Amos.
And we can work with Amos on that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
The grass horse is dead.
Never was.
I said the grass horse is dead.
Okay. The rest of the property maintenance ordinance, Amos, if you want to speak on it, fine, but it's basically covering junk, debris, scrap, appliances, furniture outside, and that type of stuff. And I haven't had any feedback on those sections. It's basically just been the grass, and I think the rest of it is self-explanatory. The enforcement mechanism is self-explanatory. There is the mechanisms there, and it's pretty standard, it's nothing unique. So I think the rest of the ordinance, as far as I'm concerned, is reasonable. Probably throughout the whole town. Rocky, maybe we can come up with some things that may be more allowable in.
And that's my
And
only
rural
issue. I mean, the other, I'm 100% behind the rest of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Through the chair, I think he wants to say something. Go on.
I'll be brief because I've spoken on this already a couple times, but Yeah, honestly, the rest of this ordinance is pretty straightforward, and the majority of the complaints I get are things like trash, refuse, old abandoned vehicles, you know, recreational vehicles, stuff like that. So I really feel like the rest of it's very straightforward, very simple, and is going to be very beneficial for the town, so that's all I have to say.
Through the chair,
Yes, Peter.
I have another question for Amos, same question as I had before, but I live, where I'm at is off 201, and I hear at least twice a week about certain properties with a lot of unregistered vehicles. So if, when and if we engage in this ordinance, 2 unregistered vehicles, is that?
I believe so. I believe it was, actually, we changed it to, I can't remember the exact wording, I don't have it in front of me, but unregisterable or unrepairable, because currently it says unregistered. I mean, you could have an unregistered vehicle that's literally the frame of a car that's completely rusted. You know, any reasonable person's gonna understand you're never gonna fix that.
Correct, but if we have a business
Yeah.
that has 20 unregistered vehicles and they don't hold dealer plates, they're not for sale,
Right,
that falls under the ramifications of a junkyard. And-
correct, yeah.
Okay, so, and this ordinance will address that, correct?
Not necessarily. The junkyard ordinance already addresses
No.
that, which we have to,
If, never mind, they don't have a junkyard license.
okay.
We're talking no junkyard li.
Okay,
If I
yeah,
did-
no.
If I decide to take 10 dead
I
vehicles
misunderstood.
and put them in my front yard,
Yes, I misunderstood, yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't have a junkyard license, then you are correct.
okay.
That
So this will
would help.
pertain to residents and businesses?
Yes,
Okay.
it affects commercial properties as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? I would suggest, guys, that we can vote on this as a first reading. And the second reading, we will have amendments. Or we could table this till next month and come up with some more, working out some of these details on amendments. Or we could have the first reading tonight.
So if you amend it, you have to have a second reading on amendment?
No, no.
Right.
So I would suggest, I don't think if we don't take the first reading tonight, what we're doing is losing an extra month. We have to go an extra month before it becomes finalized.
As long as
I
we
would
can,
suggest we take the first reading tonight.
and we can tweak it for the next
We can
reading.
tweak it for the next meeting.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And if we're not satisfied with tweaking it for the next meeting,
We'll
we can
table
table it on the second reading.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we'll work out all of these the specifics on what Rocky thinks, what I think, what Ray thinks, what the rest of us think.
That's fine.
Okay, so we'll have a roll call, Lisa, on the first reading.
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Querian.
No.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
First reading passes 6-1. Next item on the agenda is order number 26-2022, providing for authorization for the Public Works Director to spend up to $8 million for upgrades to the Chaffee Brook Pump Station with grant funding of $1 million in earmark funds and $200,000 in state revolving funds that will lower the amount to borrow to $6.8 million.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Through the chair.
Yes, Lee?
I just had a quick question. I know that the council voting on this tonight is just part of the next process in the larger project scheme of things. I'm just curious, Paul, do you have any idea on where we are in that process and when the project may start?
My estimates are probably 60 to 75% design done. They're working on it right now, working on getting updates. I believe they've got a meeting set up with Amos for some of the insulation requirements, some of the building modification requirements that are being incorporated into it. Basically at that point where they're pretty confident on the numbers, and to go forward with grants, with any type of funding, we need authorization from the town. And if we go to RDA, they're gonna say, has the town approved this? So this is the step to do that, to get council approval so we can move forward.
Okay.
We're hoping to get this on the ground. I mean, we're talking 12-month lead time for a lot of the equipment, so the sooner we can get it out on the street, maybe I'm a little optimistic. I'd love to see this go out January or February, because we need to cross the river next November. If we don't get next November, then we're talking November the year after. There's only a very short window to cross the river, so I'm pushing it as optimistically as I can, because I really want to get, the generators 12-month lead time, so the sooner we can get it out to the contractor that they can actually place orders for this equipment, then yes, there might not be much done before next November, but at least if the contracts are out there, they can order materials.
Okay.
Get started.
Thank you very much.
Other questions?
Through the chair,
Yes, Jerry?
does this have to have a public hearing?
No. It's an order allowing Paul to go through the process of providing for this project.
And as we move forward, hopefully we find some more grant money. We don't know on that, but we know we've got at least 1.2 million that offsets this cost, but the costs have been going up. I mean, this started as about a $5 million project, but, they're doing a crossing right now in Augusta, which is costing them a lot more than they thought. They just did one up in, I think in Fort Fairfield last summer. So a lot of these numbers are being updated as they're getting more recent construction costs. So, there's a pretty healthy contingency in some of these estimates, and hopefully we don't use it all, but we need to move forward with the projects.
Through the chair, Dale?
Yes, Ray.
To Erica, we're just this is gonna be a bond that we'll take out, is that, and do you know the timetable of when we have to have the bond in?
This is what we're working with Wright Pierce right now on. So we're going to be applying for the RDA funding immediately. That would be our interim financing.
Yeah.
We're hoping to potentially be able to garner some more grant funding, which will lessen the cost, but whatever's left over, chances are we're gonna have to go out to bond on it, at which point we would have to have a public hearing. But for us to even apply for the additional funding at this point, RDA wants to see that council has approved the project in scope.
Yeah.
So that's why we're coming to you tonight.
If we were doing town meeting type of government, we'd have to bring it to town meeting, get their approval. That's why they brought it up early, thinking we had to go to town meeting, but since the council has the authority, it's already brought it up, and you're looking at 2 months worth of readings and then 30 days after that, so we're into December before we really can say we are approved by the town, so.
We obviously we have no choice. We've got to get the sewer across the river. That's, would it be advantageous to anybody to waive the second reading tonight, or is it just?
No, I don't think we're that far into it.
Okay, okay.
I think
That's all I got.
think we can follow the timeline.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, if it does get tight, Paul, we can call a special session and get it done.
I don't think we'll get that point. We're not ready to go out to bids, but Eric Esther and I are still working on getting applications out. That takes time too. So it's just the idea when they ask you if the project's been approved by the town, we have to be able to say yes, because otherwise they're going to say, well, come back when you do. So.
Okay.
Nothing further from council. Lisa, roll call.
Peter Drappa.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Bradley.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
First reading passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 27-2022, providing for pole location permit Central Maine Power Company and Consolidated Communications of Northern New England Company, LLC, work order number 80100049346.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? No discussion, Lisa? Roll call when you get ready.
Roll call, Peter Drappa.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Bradley.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item, resolution number 28 is authorization for the town to form the beautification committee.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Being no discussion, Lisa?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Claren.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item is resolution number 29-2022, providing for the approval of the attached list of election clerks to assist the town clerk and warden with voting activities for the upcoming state and municipal elections.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Peter?
I went through that list, and I believe there's a conflict of an individual on that list
Okay,
whose husband is running.
okay. In that case, and I think I know who you're referring to, the list that is provided is of all the workers that I can go out to ask to work the polls or with absentee voting. Any relative or anyone on the ballot is not allowed to work at that election.
Okay.
So those people would be skipped
Okay.
and asked to come in at maybe another one in the future.
Perfect.
Yep. But yeah, very aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Lisa?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item is resolution number 30-2022, providing for authorization for the town clerk registrar of voters to notify the voters of this municipality of a municipal and referendum election for the town of Winslow to be held on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion, Lisa?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion. Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. We have moved all the way up to discussion items, and as of the date this was put together, there were none.
And there's still are none?
I'm not sure.
Motion to adjourn?
For next meeting, can you please make a note that you're at executive session for negotiations?
Okay,
Yeah, negotiations.
gotcha.
No items up for discussion? There is no executive session? We're down to a motion to adjourn. Anybody in favor of a motion to
So
adjourn?
moved.
Second.
Jerry moved, Rocky seconded. Lisa?
And I am going to go with the show of hands. Are we all in favor?
No in favor.
Look at that. We
Thank you
have
very
passed that easily, 7-0. Meeting is adjourned at 7:20. All right, I will have to